Here we go.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Hello and welcome, Lincoln Hancock, Dominance Thomastown's very own gym owner and Fusion Championships new heavyweight Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu no-gi champion. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Honestly, I appreciate that you've taken the time out of the day, so thank you.
Oh, I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's good. I was thinking a good place to start is the events of the actual Fusion night. So I watched it live. I was, in the crowd. And I just want to say, with full pun intended, Dominance is just hearing someone from Dominance coming out. I knew it was going to be a dominating performance. Just either win or lose, it's going to be a good one. And you guys seem to be taking on a lot of the wins as well. So that was, I guess, congratulations for the reputation there as well. It's pretty good, man.
Thanks, bro. We put in the work, that's for sure. So,
Yeah.
We put in the work. We take on the hard matches. Pays off most of the time.
Yeah.
But you can't win them all. But
Yeah.
we're flying along at the moment. We're pretty happy.
Yeah, you're on a high. You're definitely
That's
on a
right.
high.
And
You
these
can see
things, flow and ebb. But we're at the top of the flow at the moment.
Yeah, and of course, spoiler alert, you won your fight against your opponent, Michael, I believe.
Nah, Nick Hughes, his name is.
Apologies.
Nick Hughes from Adelaide, yeah. Great guy.
Yeah, he seemed like, I guess, a formidable foe by his own right.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you, I noticed you said something after the fight. I don't know if there was tension there or there was aggression or if I'm misreading it completely. What did you say to your opponent after the fight?
Look, it's all of the above except the tension. There was no tension. At least there was no tension between me and Nick.
Okay.
There was definitely aggression, but that's because we're competing in front of a cage for a belt. And I have a kind of an aggressive style of jiu-jitsu. So, it's no secret that I'm quite aggressive inside the cage. In fact, something Nick said afterwards, which was a really nice thing for someone to say in his Instagram sort of post. He said, Link turned out to be the monster that I thought he was, which he didn't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, he meant that, it was a tough match.
100%.
And it was a really, really tough match. And there's a whole story to these comments, and it's not what you think.
Yeah.
Firstly, I got nothing but respect and admiration for Nick and vice versa.
Awesome.
He's an incredibly nice guy. He's so nice. One time I was on a show in Perth called Battlegrounds, which is an excellent show, one of the best shows in the country. And Nick also fought in the same card. And I didn't know him very well at all. You just see each other at comps in passing, And he came up to me before we both fought and just said, "Hey, man, I just want to say, I really like what you're doing, that you're going out there, you're getting after it. Even though I'm older, I've just turned 43. He's like, you're putting your money where your mouth is. Awesome. It was quite an inspirational thing. And he had no reason to come to me and say that. We barely knew each other. He had a fight to concentrate on. I had a fight to concentrate on.
Yeah.
But he's just a really genuine guy.
That's awesome.
But what sort of led to my... Look, I have an aggressive style, but I was probably a little more amped than usual in that super fight, and it wasn't really to do with Nick per se.
Okay.
It was more to do with me. So we signed for the match in early December. After that, I went and did No-Gi Worlds, where I took third place in the heavyweight division, Masters 3, so the age group.
Awesome.
So that was really good.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks, bro.
For the effort.
Yeah. It was my third world level medal that year. So I had 2 at Nagi. And one in No-Gi. In terms of when I say at World Championships, plus also medaled at the Asian Championships in Tokyo, in Nagoya, and in
Man, you just
Long
don't
Beach.
stop.
Yeah. We can get to that too.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But just back to this little moment.
Of course. Yeah.
And then the camp went fairly well. So I was training for it. I'm predominantly a gi player, so in the uniform, that's my preferred style, what I was brought up with and what I enjoy the most. But, I put in a lot of effort no-gi. And then the match got postponed. So what actually happened was the original venue got firebombed. So this had nothing to do with Fusion whatsoever.
Yep.
This was like a venue owner dispute kind of thing. And so the match got pulled out.
Yes,
it was in the news. Yeah,
I know.
It's actually around the corner from here.
Yeah, and
we don't need to name them, but yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So the match got put back 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. And it was at that moment my camp started to fall to bits. And so what happened was...
Camp? What do you mean by that?
Training camp.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I was flying. I was feeling great, ready to rock and roll. Camp got put off. And my first thought was, great, I'll just be better.
Yeah, I've
Come
got more
4
time
weeks
to go
time
harder.
and be better.
Yeah.
And then a couple of my training partners had to one had knee surgery, lost him. One of my main training partners, Kieran Robson Gar.
Yeah, I met him very recently. Yeah.
National judo champion, great grappler, jiu-jitsu black belt. One of my other main training partners, Sam McCarthy, he'd already planned to travel Australia with his partner, who's also a professional MMA fighter, Elish Smith. So he took off. Then I've been battling a shoulder injury since August last year. That got really bad to the point where I was needing Panaline Fort to sleep at night, that kind of stuff. Then I did my back. And I did my back so bad that I couldn't tie my shoelaces, couldn't sleep. And then I got a staph infection. And so it was just like one thing after another. And the whole time,
are these signs right
I'm
now?
just like, oh, fuck, this ain't going too good. And it's very frustrating, you know. And then one of my main coaches at the gym, one of my students who's one of the main coaches as well, Ivan, he had to take a little bit of time off. So I had to cover his classes, which took me out of my camp.
And this doesn't account for like the, I guess the mental stress as well, on top of all the physical.
That's right. And so
now
you
adding
put all
on.
that together with the fact that there's a belt on the line. You know, I was struggling in camp. And Nick is a really good grappler. I was worried about the match. He basically has, if you would have saw him, we're only 2.5 kilos apart, but he's only like 5 foot nothing. So he's like,
He's stocky, yeah.
he's a little nugget.
Yeah,
And so basically his strengths are my weaknesses, good wrestling, et cetera, et cetera. So there was just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But come the night, I felt amazing. You know, warming up, everything felt good, and the match was real hard. And just some things that occurred at the weigh-in and stuff. Absolutely, he did everything he was supposed to do. He said everything he was supposed to say. You know, he said, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to submit him, etc. And that's what he should think. If he thinks he's going to go out there and lose,
Well, that's why you're there. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, but then just the emotion of it all came together, and after a really tough fight. I really didn't say much. I was just super excited.
Yeah,
no one actually knows. No, so this is the first time the world knows.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I just looked at him and said, "You'll do what? You'll do what?"
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Like the words are now playing.
Yeah, because he said I'm going to submit him and stuff. So I'm like, "You'll do what?" And you know what? To be honest, I wish it hadn't happened. It was just I was a little bit overly emotional, just with the emotion of the camp and all that kind of stuff. Even though I've had 120 matches at black belt, it's still hard.
But naturally, man, heat of the moment, everything's fired up, adrenaline as well.
Yeah, and
that wasn't disrespectful, I don't think.
You know what? And I shouldn't have said nothing because most people didn't realize it even happened. And when I watched the replay, like the televised replay, you couldn't even hear anything. But I just felt so bad, bro. Yeah. As soon as it came out, I'm like, oh, what a jerk move, bro. What is wrong with you?
What a duck.
And so, I apologized to him on the mic. And then because I apologized to him on the mic, everyone's like, oh, what happened? What did you say? Was there beef? And I was, no beef whatsoever. He's a really outstanding individual, man. He's as straight as an arrow. You know what I mean?
Man.
And his juice is very, very good. And in fact, online I told him, hey, I could learn a lot from you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, both how you conduct yourself on the mat and how you conduct yourself off the mat.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't even hear it, and to him it was a non-issue.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I kind of made an issue out of a non-issue.
Well,
only because I felt I felt shitty.
I saw it. I thought not that there was an issue, but I definitely felt like it was significant though. So I guess your comments on it I don't think you're making it something. Yeah. I appreciate hearing it because I was genuinely curious. I'm like, what did he say?
Yeah, I guess also like it is entertaining,
of course,
from the outside. But I've never really been into that whole entertainment thing. Sure, I'm doing a super fight, so I'm there for the crowd, but I want to conduct myself with respect and humility. Of course, I'm aggressive and I'm confident. But you have to be. It's a combat sport.
Yeah.
But I want to treat Nick and my opponents and the referee and the opponent's corner and the crowd with the respect they deserve, and everyone who gets up there and puts in the work and lays it on the line in front of 1,000 people or whatever, plus however many watching the stream, plus the fact it's going to be all over Instagram, etc. You deserve respect. You're putting in the work. Like we take the risk that we call it highlight reel. So we win a tournament, we make a highlight reel. And sometimes you're on the wrong end of a highlight reel. You know what I mean? So you deserve respect for putting yourself out there.
Yeah. So just to get for the record, Nick, if you're listening, apologies for my lack of journalism. I should have definitely getting the name wrong initially. So I do need to get that off my chest. But I think that might have been. I think the match itself, as you were speaking, I'm thinking I think it was such a high intensity match.
It was,
That's like, it was interesting because, yeah, the other fights, and there was combat jiu-jitsu as well. So there was screaming as well. With you guys, it was like silence and tense, and then explosion, and then silence and tense and explosion. So in the crowd, I was like, there was just, even from an outsider perspective, the room was heightened, and you guys definitely brought the energy into the room. So I guess, yeah, as an audience, that was interesting by its own right, which was crazy.
It was an interesting match like that. A couple of things. One, that's my style. So my style is very much, I'll feel the opponent, try some setups, try to get them out of position, and then I go.
Yeah.
And his was kind of similar. And I guess if you didn't know a lot about jiu-jitsu, maybe it felt like there was long periods where there wasn't much going on. But if you know a lot about jiu-jitsu, you would appreciate what was going on. Yeah, there was a lot of setting each other up. Like, I was respecting his passing, he was respecting my guard play. We both almost submitted each other.
5D chess.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it was intense, and just everything, the emotion of it all.
Yeah.
You know, when my student Juzzy had a great win, and I just got to smidge Gary away.
No, it's good.
Again, no disrespect to Nick.
Course.
He's a legend. He actually fought. So, Fusion had their first South Australian show in Adelaide the week after, and the main event pulled out. One of the fighters had to pull out.
Okay.
And Nick put his hand up and got the main event.
Yeah, nice.
So he fought 2 weekends in a row: semi-main event in Melbourne, main event in Adelaide, and he won in Adelaide by submission.
Yeah,
So
what a weapon, man.
Props to Nick.
This is awesome. So did you have a specific game plan going into
Yeah,
this?
for sure. So I knew his strengths, which were wrestling and guard passing. He's a good guard player too, but I was pretty confident if I could keep him on his back or pass his guard.
Why?
Because I've done a lot of work with my guard passing, and while I'm known as a guard player, so I'm known from playing from the bottom, I think a lot of people underappreciate my abilities from the top as well. I was pretty confident I could pass him. The hard part is that he is such a good wrestler with such a low center of gravity.
And you need to match his height, don't you?
Absolutely, match his level, that I wasn't confident I could put him on his back.
Okay.
You know, and the risk is I end up not only on my back, but on my back with my guard pass, so him pass my legs, like, so I can.
Yeah, but sorry, I did notice you, and forgive my lack of terminology. You did the posturing that almost invited the guard.
Absolutely.
Isn't that putting yourself on your back?
Yeah. So the point is that I wasn't confident I was going to put him on his back without the risk of me being put on my back in a disadvantageous position.
So
that means my strategy was to pull guard, which was mean to get grips and I sit, and now you come and play my guard. And that's my strength. Everyone knows that's my strength. He knows that. He's very smart. He's very cerebral.
Yes.
He done a lot of research on me, as I did a lot of research on him. And he knows that guard play is my strength.
Nice.
Obviously, he thought he could pass, but unfortunately, within 7 minutes, he couldn't. And I managed to sweep, which means I managed to put him on his back and come up on top and score points.
Yeah.
But it was against the cage and stuff, so there was no ability to pass his guard against the cage there. And then, so that was pretty much the strategy, which just so happened to be my usual strategy. And over the years, I've developed a good feel and sensitivity for these things. So a couple of times I went to come up, he disengaged, which is smart for him. Because then if I come up, we have to wrestle. So I just go back down, wait for him to re-engage. And eventually I got on top.
Sorry, smart, because that means he can
go to his strength.
Yes.
Yeah,
so he can do essentially what you did, readjust and tackle it from his advantage.
Exactly. So one of the things you do when you compete, just like a game of football or a game of soccer or whatever, is you look to put the match into your strong points. So when I look at an opponent, I don't worry too much about like, okay, he's really good at this, I have to stop that. Really good at X, I have to stop X.
Yeah.
I look, okay, he likes to play in X, how can I get him to Y? Because Y is where I want to be.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it, and it worked out great.
Yeah. Nice.
He told me his strategy after the match.
2 pass guards.
Yeah, so he told me his strategy was to wear me out with leg entanglements. So that means, fighting for leg locks. And then when I got tired, pass my guard towards the end of the match now, because he knew it wasn't going to pass while I was fresh. Unfortunately for him, that didn't work out because I love leg entanglements.
Jokes on you.
Well, no, I mean, it was a decent strategy to a degree.
Of course.
I know what I would have done if I was him to beat me, but I ain't going to say it.
Come on, let us in. Inside scoop.
No, we'll have to bleep it out.
Yeah, not today.
Like if I was him, I could beat me. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
But I spent particularly at brown belt, like I was known as the footlock guy. So I love being in the legs, particularly when you're much longer than your opponent. like it's hard for him to get on my feet because he was much shorter.
Yeah, yeah.
But he did at the very, very end get on a toe hold that was, looking at a photo, my foot was bent well and truly the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel it, to be honest. I was just stressed that he might get up and score points off it. But apart from that, no, she was good, man. Good times.
It was
sick
awesome
scrap.
to watch.
My face got fucked up. My lips are bleeding and shit. I'm running around the ring screaming at the poor guy while he's on his knees. It wasn't that bad. I'm exaggerating. It really wasn't that bad.
Not that bad, but definitely that entertaining. So
it was entertaining.
It was good. It was like I really enjoyed that from the audience, man.
And I have all the respect in the world for it.
Awesome, man. In terms of techniques, what are your, and it doesn't need to be, not even functionally, just aesthetically. What's your favorite offensive technique? Do you have a favorite defensive? It sounds like pull guard might be the defensive.
Well, that's offensive. That is offensive. So I mean, when you're doing jiu-jitsu where punches aren't involved, guard is offensive.
Okay.
It's called guard because in the old days, jiu-jitsu was primarily about fighting MMA. Okay, so when you're on your back, it's a different story if they can punch your head in. So guard was a guard position.
Of course, yeah.
But guard is an offensive position with pure jiu-jitsu, a very offensive position.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, it's no secret, my strategy, I'm a guard player. Most tall people are. Most lanky people are. My strategy is to pull guard. I get after them.
Yeah.
I want to pull guard. I want to try to sweep them. I want to try to submit them. Nice. And the tempo will vary. If they're very good, it might be slower while I try to set things up. If they're not so good, it might be good. Who knows? Depends on the person.
So then what would your defensive go-to be? Not even go-to, but again, somewhat aesthetically.
I mean, it's hard to say when you're saying like aesthetically, like what do I like to watch or what do I like to do or what is my philosophy? Like,
I understand.
They're all different. So I'll just say this. I'm a big believer that your offense contains your defense. Okay, so regardless of the position, top, bottom, whatever, if I'm attacking correctly, he can't mount offense.
Yeah.
It's only when I allow him to get to a strong position that he can mount offense. Yeah. So, for example, if I'm playing guard, playing from the bottom, he can only pass me if he can get good base and posture. So if I'm constantly off-balancing them and I'm breaking their posture, which is what I need to attack anyway, they're going to have a hard time passing.
Just by being sticky, just by kind of...
being sticky, pushing, pulling, there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it. Course. But so for me, like, I have a saying, matches aren't won on defense. Then they're not.
So defense isn't the best offense?
No, offense is the best offense.
Who would have thought?
And offense is, but the saying is offense is the best defense, that's what I believe. Especially with time limits, it's a different story if you've got an untimed. But so every now and then they'll do it like a 30-minute match or a match without time limits. Okay, now we're talking something else.
Yeah.
But in most jiu-jitsu tournaments and professional jiu-jitsu, a match will be anywhere from sort of 6 minutes to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you need to attack.
Okay.
And that's where the fun is.
Of course, yeah. But that's also where the risk is, I assume. Because it's
absolutely.
go hard or it's like the risk takers get the...
You got to pull the trigger, so we're big on that concept at Dominus, Like, you need to know what your A game is, you need to get there as soon as you can, you need to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
But like I said, within your offense should be contained your defense. So if you're good at attacking, it'll be hard for your partner to attack you while you're attacking them.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. I wanted to ask as well, so a lot of the questions I'm going to ask are viewed as a viewer, so as an audience, almost as an outsider, yeah. So I noticed when Fusion were putting the fights out, you know how they do the, you all had kind of like your trailer almost of who the fighter is coming in.
Yeah, it was cool.
So, I really like that. And again, no disrespect to Nick at all, but just watching that, it really looked like you had it in the bag from that video. So my question is, do you have any tips to win the psychological warfare going into a fight? Is there a psychological battle before the fight that happens, or? Yeah,
or look, no? To be honest, like, you definitely can't tell off a video who's going to win. You know what I mean? Unless we're looking at the technique from matches, that might be a different story. You got to remember, this is all choreographed.
And sorry, the video is me. That's my assumption. Yeah. But the question itself is, are they psychological?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get there for sure.
Apologies.
That's okay. But yeah, like, you can't tell off that, I would say. But the psychological battle in a match is primarily with yourself.
Okay.
It's not so much with the opponent. Look, I've had I don't know how many matches anymore, but at black belt, well over, around about 115. Yeah. Won about 85, 87.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fights, like comps, fights.
No, individual matches. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I fought, I fought 5 or 6 world champions.
Oh, my goodness, man.
Like, you're not scared to fight. Or you're not scared to compete in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, sometimes we take ourselves too serious. It's like a grappling martial art. No one's getting proper hurt unless there's an accident. There's a ref there to save you. The fear is like losing or performing badly. Okay. That's the fear. Yeah, letting yourself down is the fear. Yeah. Most of the psychological battle is the psychological battle with yourself. Yeah, like making sure that you're calm, you're aggressive but controlled with your aggression, not overhyped,
I like that.
not underhyped.
Yeah,
It used to be a mantra when I was a blue belt. I would just tell myself, controlled aggression, because sometimes I go too hard. Yeah, and then you leave big openings.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that philosophy. Just in life, like
100%.
A big part of that is allowing yourself to feel emotions in general. So if you allow yourself to feel emotions, you can start to control it when you need it.
That's right.
Controlled aggression.
You need to control it, but
you need to feel
harness
it first.
You harness it. Yeah, definitely.
Great word. Yeah.
So most of the psychological battle is around how do you get yourself to perform at your best, and that takes time and takes experience. And to be honest, I didn't feel good at that until probably midway through brown belt. So midway through brown belt, which is the second last belt per se, was when I really started to feel I was able to go to a comp. Of course, you're nervous. Yeah. Get over the nerves, put myself in the zone, go through my rituals.
Which is a question.
Yeah, cool. Go through my rituals, get myself mentally and physically where I need to be and go and execute and enjoy doing it. So at the start, even if you get that stuff right, sometimes there's a blur, there's pressure, there's a lot of anxiety. As you get more used to it, it becomes fun. So I really enjoy the actual fight itself. Yeah. But it took ages.
Of course.
And some people maybe are naturals and they do it earlier, and some people never get it. You know, some people are amazing in the gym. They're just killers. Yeah. But you get them into a comp and they're not so good.
Yeah. The nerves, you already said it, yeah. The psychological battle with yourself.
They can't control themselves.
That's huge, man.
So, look, I don't think Nick is scared of me. I'm not scared of him. At the end of the day, we're also friends, and it's just just a jiu-jitsu match that we do over and over and over. You know, I do 10 rounds a day. Yeah, it's nothing. Like we do it all the time. It's just the stakes are higher because I really want to win the belt. He really wants to win the belt.
Of course, yeah. And reputation.
Yeah, reputation. All your students are there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and look, one thing I learned is that no one cares if you lose. As long as you do your best and you enjoy yourself and you learn from it. I never lost a friend or a student or a loved one because I lost a match. Almost lost my marbles a couple of times.
Lost himself a bit.
but
that's all right.
But you're not going to lose, anything important. Yeah. So that's what I would say. I'd say the psychological battle is you. Yeah. You versus you. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you'll be mid-match and you feel the opponent break. But it's not because you've scared the shit out of them. It's because they've given up on themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
They've got the thoughts gone to their head. It's not going so well. Maybe I can't win. Okay, I can't win. And you'll feel that. Yeah. And then I once had someone say to me, I was visiting another gym, good guys. It was all friendly. It was actually in the States. He goes, "Oh, you're really aggressive." And then when you start to win, you're even more aggressive. But I mean, it's like you're playing footy, right? You kick a couple of goals, you see them lower their colours a little bit, so you're going to kick 10 goals, aren't you? It's on now.
Yeah, like, I'm going to destroy your hope as well.
That's the breakthrough. You've had the little breakthrough. Before that, it's a battle of wills,
Yeah, battle of will.
Yeah, battle of skill, battle of will, and then you win it, and then it's...
Yeah.
Floodgates are open, bro.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Well, that was going to follow into my next question, but I think you've kind of hit it, which was... Is there, because as we mentioned, there's highs and lows just all the time in life. What do you do if you wake up comp day and you're just not there mentally? You're having a shit day. The big sad has come, and can you willfully induce the right mind state?
Yeah, 100% I can, and it took a long time. A couple of things, man. I was, like I said, concerned for the match with Nick since we're on that topic, And my girlfriend actually says to me, "You're going to win this one?" I'm like, "Don't know."
Thanks, babe.
But, you get to the point where it's okay for me to, approach things from a realistic point of view in that sense. Like, it doesn't psych me out. I don't have to be the person who goes, "Oh, I'm going to win. I'm going to beat everyone." In fact, sometimes that's a detriment. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But
Yeah.
the other thing you learn from experience is that most of the things you think matter don't.
Okay.
So if you had a shit sleep the night before, doesn't matter.
No?
No.
I thought that's everything.
Man, in Queensland, one time I was doing the Queensland State Championships. I slept like 3 hours. First matches with this really tough Brazilian fella from Queensland, lives in Queensland, called Paulo. Someone, I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Paulo.
I was going to say
great guy.
something.
Yeah. And I'm like, I got this monster first round. I haven't slept. Man, I did very well.
Nice.
I won every match.
Okay.
You kind of learn with experience. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, if you haven't slept for a week, that matters. But one night doesn't matter. You know,
Yeah.
George St. Pierre would say he wouldn't sleep the night before a fight.
Oh, shit.
How many world championships did he win?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You learn a lot of these things don't matter. You know, like you play little tricks with your mind, or your mind plays tricks on you, and you're like, if my shoelaces don't land right, I'm gonna have a bad day. And then they don't. And you're like, what the man? That's a fucking shoelace. Like, it doesn't mean nothing. All that matters is what you do after you tap hands and bump fists.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it's just you and him and the ref. That's it. Nothing else matters after that, right?
Yeah.
So,
And like the thoughts themselves, like, there's no, well, yeah, I guess question, do you have room to think, or are you that present?
Yeah,
like,
100%. Yeah, I'm thinking.
So there's a voice in the head?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to assume that the voice kind of dissipates.
No, you mean like mid-match?
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this is one of the things that took until sort of mid-brown belt.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a blue belt, purple belt, often things would be a blur. And then I couldn't even tell you what happened in the match after the match. And you're running sort of on instinct and autopilot. But as you get more experience, you're used to the adrenaline and stuff, and your skill level is higher as you climb the ranks. I'm pretty aware during the match. Now, there's for sure, like in jiu-jitsu, just like in most sports, there's moments where you're thinking and moments when you're purely reacting. And the thinking's primarily around strategy, like overlaying strategy, like overall strategy. You know, he's doing this, I'm doing that, I need to be in this position, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So one thing with Nick is a good example. I knew his strongest pass was to this side, to my left side, which is the hardest side to defend because it's like a southpaw in boxing. Not many people pass to that side, so you're not used to it. So one of the strategies we worked was always to put him back to my good side.
Yes, okay.
And I was able to do that all
Yeah.
But then there's other moments where you have to go, and you've just done this so many times, you put in so many hours, your body just does it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what you've gone into that fight with, the intent. Like,
that's right, 100%. So I'm pretty aware in the moment, which means you're also aware when you fuck up. Like you make a mistake and you're like, I messed that one up. This could go bad. And sometimes it goes bad. That's just sport, man. Like, you win, you lose.
Yeah. So essentially, what I heard was whether it's a bad mind state or not before, don't overthink it, basically, because you're going to be
just remind yourself, I would say, like, it's like anything in life, you know, it's anything that's hard, that there's risk involved, it's a fight or flight mentality, you know. Your mind will trick you and say, don't go into this situation because the outcome could be very bad. Because when we were cavemen or whatnot, cave women, cave
people,
that could be life or death.
Of course.
You know? Now, we're fortunate, particularly living in a first world country with all the privileges that we have, that we don't, that's not life or death.
But we get to grow in that space now.
Absolutely, you know? So your mind will try to play tricks on you to get you out of the situation. And you know, people who are newer to combat sports, et cetera, they'll sometimes succumb to that. But then it's very easy now for me to say, no, that's just me, my mind playing tricks. I'm doing this. This is what I want to do. This is my life. It's getting done. You know what I mean? Like, you just override the silly thoughts and stuff. You know?
I love memeing the podcast name, but they're not your thoughts that are arising. You know?
Legit. I mean, I guess they're your thoughts because they're in your head, right? But they're not the thoughts you're trying to live by.
But there are also thoughts that just appeared to you.
That's right.
And you can latch on, or you can say, all right, thought, you know, I'm not going to entertain you. I'm not going to feed more energy there. And then that one passes.
You're like, I understand why this, you know, I understand the psychology of this. No, this is not reality. You're just trying to get me out of this situation. I'm not getting out of it. I'm head first. I'm all the way. Man, I told one of my surgeons from one of the many injuries I've had, and he's like, you know, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You know, you're going to get arthritis. So I said, mate, I don't care. I'm all in. Just give me 10 years, bro. I don't care.
Yeah, fuck. All
like,
right.
I'm 100% all in on this.
Yeah.
This is what I've done with my life, and is what I will do with my life. I'll worry about my knee in 15 years.
Are you proving something to yourself, or that's just is that the you know, the curse of an artist, essentially, the insanity that needs you to be great?
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah,
bro,
there's
for
elements
sure.
of that. Is that is there? And we don't need to get too deep. And I didn't write this down.
Nah, you can get as deep as you want.
I guess
if you dare.
if I do, yeah, I don't know if I do, to be honest. But yeah, are you trying to prove something to yourself, or it's just a trait and you're on the journey?
Nah, I think it's just how I'm built.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
bro.
man. I just love it, man. I'm like, you know, we often say, and we'll say it to each other, and I'll say it to my students before big batches and shit, you know, because you have all level of people in your academy. You know, and some people just come once or twice a week for exercise, and some other people make their living and shit. You know, we'll say to each other, no, we're built for this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
We're literally built for this. We're built for it, and we build upon it. You know?
Yeah. And I believe in callings, like things
Yeah,
you're
man.
meant to be doing. Like, I don't know how spiritual that actually is, but I definitely believe there's pathways that by chance, whatever personality you have and genes you were given, it fits with that particular interest and pathway.
100%, man. I think
And you have to find that, essentially.
You're exactly right. I think it's partly genetic and partly environment. You know, environment stimulates certain genes.
Yeah.
So a lot of it you have in you already, and the rest you build.
Is that? And I don't expect you to know. Do you know what epigenetics
That's
are?
100% epigenetics.
It is epigenetics? Yeah, okay, yeah.
100% epigenetics.
Because that's essentially that environment affecting the actual outcome of your genetic code.
That's right.
Yeah, okay,
activating some genes and deactivating
Yeah,
other genes.
yeah.
And then if you activate, I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Let's
the
just
gist.
put some fucking numbers on it. If you activate gene number 67, that activates 37, 48.
Oh,
You know what I mean? If you don't
yes.
activate that, and yeah, it's a very complex
Yes.
subject. But I have listened to quite a lot of podcasts and stuff on it. I quite like what's the fella's name with the long hair? He wrote a book called Behave. It's an amazing book, but it's very hard to read. Robert
Serious?
Sapolsky.
I've heard. Oh,
Yeah, Robert
he's
Sapolsky.
Mr. Free Will.
Well,
Or lack thereof.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's
I like
he's
him.
I
Yeah.
really like his
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't heard. I've only listened to him once on. Have you heard Alex O'Connor?
Nah, I haven't.
Very interesting guy. But yeah, they were essentially talking about the lack of free will.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard him talk genetics. So you've given me.
Well, he's all about genetics.
Sorry, epigenetics.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you're definitely
yeah.
right. He's
So
all
obviously he did a good one with Joe Rogan if you get a chance for that. But he did a
Okay.
really good one also with. Have you heard of the Modern Wisdom podcast?
He's Chris Will, my inspo. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
that's
So
yeah,
he did a great one with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know he was on there. Yeah, I literally wherever I can mimic that guy, I essentially do. You know what I mean? So
It's such a hard subject to know,
Yeah.
right? Because we literally like raise competitors from nothing. Like they come in. And sometimes you got to be careful how you raise a competitor.
Yeah.
Because they might have a lot of potential. You put them in too early. They have bad experience. They quit.
Yeah.
And so there's this old saying like you can't teach heart, but we say we do teach heart.
Okay.
So, but the hard part is, okay, are we teaching that, or is that already in that person, and we're just helping them to discover it?
Yeah.
Who knows? We don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
Are we creating a diamond, or are we just polishing a diamond? I don't know. But we're trying to do it regardless.
Well, does hard work beat talent, or will
Always. That's slightly different. Yeah, always.
reckon?
Yeah,
Okay.
100%, bro.
so there isn't always going to be a
we see that-
11-year-old Korean child who's going to outshine you.
We see it all the time, man. We have the saying hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So my coach Dave Hart, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
We see talented people who can't put in the work, or won't put in the work. Things come easy to them until they become hard. When they become hard, they leave. They do something else.
Yeah. Okay.
And often the best ones end up being the ones who were just in the corner. You didn't pay much attention to, just grinding away day after day after day. And one day they just, it's like a seed you planted and becomes like a bud, and then one day it just flowers, and you're like, oh shit, this person has it.
Yeah.
But no one paid attention to them because they weren't the talented
The
one.
star, basically.
Instead of taking them 2 years to get to X level, it took them 6. But when they get there, they're there, and because they built that upon struggle, they keep it. They don't step backwards.
Yeah. That's intense.
So
man.
we definitely say like we usually prefer the people who struggle.
Yeah.
Now, the hard part is if you get the talent and someone who knows how to struggle and a bunch of other things, which we can talk about as well.
Like this aggressive drive.
There's like a recipe. When the recipe comes together, that's
Yeah.
that's when you get the world champions. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's good. Did we touch on your specific rituals? Do you have any specific rituals? Do you
I
enjoy
do.
bike riding? Is that a part of your ritual?
Nah, I just love bike riding.
Yeah, I do too as well, man. I'm for it, man.
Yeah, I love road cycling and mountain biking. You know, I just went away for my weekend.
Yes, you did.
For my birthday, you know, mountain biking for 3 days up at Falls Creek.
Awesome.
You know, mountain biking is something I've always done. So I started mountain biking about the same time I started jiu-jitsu. So,
Oh, shit.
and it's just something I enjoy. Most of my mates, who aren't my jiu-jitsu friends, my hometown friends I grew up with, a lot of us ride bikes. You know, ride mountain bikes.
Dude, it's just a buzz.
It's
I'm
rad.
for it. Yeah, you get to check out but zone in.
Exactly.
Like it's just
So one of the things for me is being a full-time coach, teaching anywhere from 3 to 5 classes a day, 6 days a week. You know, I'm at comps all the time. I'll be at a competition tomorrow from 9 a.m. till probably 8 p.m.
You're fucking wired, man.
And so I'm always thinking about jiu-jitsu. I'm always around a shit ton of people. I'm probably with 120, 150 people a day. So
Are you allowed to have bad, shitty days, or do you almost always have to present?
Nah, you have to. Yeah, look, and it doesn't mean I don't. And it doesn't mean every now and then I don't slip up, but you have to be there for them all the time.
Of course.
Yeah, 100%. Your life's not always yours when you're a coach. Just like when you're a parent, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And dominance definitely has a family element to it, which is
100%.
like a beautiful thing as
Yeah,
well.
we care, man. Like I care. Sometimes I care too much. Like some things that happen to students, injuries, so forth, things they're going through, that really get to me. Big
Yeah.
time, yeah. You carry like, if you got a student who's kicking ass and they're winning and they're on top of the world, you carry that with you. You celebrate with them. But if you got a student who's struggling, you carry the struggle as well. 100%. You have
that
to.
shows,
If you don't care, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be coaching. You know, people shouldn't be looking to you for leadership and guidance if you don't care. If you don't care, just be an athlete.
True. Yeah.
Or go do something else, work in an office.
No,
you know?
honestly, again, as an outsider, dominance has this like integrated front. I guess it appears to be coming top down, which is
100%.
like a beautiful thing.
We
That's
do
nice.
say culture starts at the top, yeah.
Okay,
Culture
awesome.
is top down. The
Yeah.
coaches set that culture, and then, you know,
Downstream.
that doesn't mean each person who steps into the gym, they help build that culture, you know, they put a brick in a wall.
Yeah.
I always tell my students, you guys put a brick in a wall. So I laid the foundation.
Of course.
I told you I wanted the wall to stand at this height, this direction, this angle.
This
But
color, we want this
Yeah,
render.
but I can't build it by myself.
Of course, yeah.
So everyone who steps onto the mat, they put a brick in the wall, you know? And that's one thing, like we genuinely care, and it's, again, a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it gets in the way of personal relationships, it causes friction between me and my partner, and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff, yeah.
But I think, is that not what it takes to be great? Like the sacrifice?
Yeah, I mean, I
essentially?
don't know about great, because I wouldn't consider myself greater on the path to greatness, but I think that that's what it takes to be who I want to be in life, yeah.
Okay. You don't think, do you think you're just good?
Yeah.
Because good's pretty average.
Good's a pretty good level to put me at, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll leave it there. I
know-
think most people listening would disagree with that, to be
Look,
honest.
everyone looks at things from a different point of view, but I often say this, you know, when people come to me and go, oh, you're doing well, you kicking ass, whatever, or the gym's doing well, I say, we're just doing our best, bro.
Yeah,
And that's all
of
anyone
course.
can do. We're just doing our best 24/7, 365, and hopefully it's good enough, and we'll
Yeah.
adjust it as we go, try to make it better. A bit like these guys playing upstairs.
Yeah, I know. I never know if you can hear him or not, but I don't think we can.
I can hear him, but I think
No,
it'll
I
be
mean,
fine.
sorry if the
Nah, I
mic's
think it'll
picking
be
up.
fine. Anyway.
I love the idea of it. Like,
I was about to say, it's backdrop music.
exactly,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
copyright free, just background music. So I call it a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I guess, do you always hold your cards close? Is there someone out there, name names if you can, who you wouldn't be able to surprise in the ring? Is there someone who knows all your trump cards and all your moves? Or do you always have a card close to your chest?
I don't have nothing close on my
No,
chest.
it's just
if
all
you're
out on the
talking about
table.
my personal jiu-jitsu game, like,
Yes, that's what I mean.
I'm very predictable, bro.
Okay.
Like,
You're just good at it.
I'm
Yeah.
going to start the match, I'm going to pull guard, and I'm going to get after it.
Okay,
And that's pretty much how every match goes.
Nice.
Now, I'm always developing new techniques and adding new techniques, etc. But I'm not a mystery. And most people aren't. The interesting thing is the people that know you the best are your daily training partners. So I can be in my academy rolling with my students and have rounds that feel harder, and they might be blue belt, purple belt, brown belt.
Yeah.
Rounds that feel harder than when I go to a comp and face a black belt, because
yeah.
we've put so many.
They know.
Yeah, and it's subconscious, right? We put so many hours in together that, and it runs vice versa, right?
Of course.
That you subconsciously recognize their patterns, and you know, I start to move, and they already know what's going to happen. So, I'd say in that sense, but the other sense is, everyone knows everyone's game more or less. We've got Instagram now, we've got YouTube.
True.
We put our
We're
stuff
all
up
linked.
there. Yeah, everyone's. So when I took the match with Nick, for example, I go research his matches, and he goes researches my matches. This is normal.
So you're for that, the research behind an opponent.
Well, what else are you going to do? He owns an academy like I do. He needs to promote himself.
Of course.
Yeah. So, plus it's cool. Like if you do some cool stuff, you want to. But I say to the guys I put stuff on my Instagram, yes, because I want people to see it, but I want somewhere to save it so I can watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of rituals, which we haven't got to yet, but one of my rituals sometimes is I'll sit and watch my own highlights just to remind myself, I can do this.
Yeah,
Look, I've done this before.
That's a version of you that is doing it. Yeah. And that's still you. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So, the other thing is just finally on that, I think the goal is to be predictable and win anyway.
Which seems to be the game plan clearly.
There's this
the belt shows.
Because you don't know a lot about jiu-jitsu, but there's this there's this person named Hodger Gracie. So he's from the Gracie family, and he's universally considered the greatest of all time.
Oh wow, not John Danaher?
No, he's a coach. John Danaher may be the greatest coach of all time, potentially, or in time. But Hodger, who actually they know each other quite well.
Okay.
Yep, because John started with Henzo Gracie, which is Hodger's uncle.
All right, this family trees.
Absolutely, yeah. But so Hodger is universally considered the greatest of all time. Won an MMA title. He won 10 gi world titles.
Wow.
And he won the ADCC a few times, which is like the pinnacle of no-gi. And his game was so predictable, bro. So one of the famous stories / folklore did happen, though, is exactly what happened, was Hodger won his weight division in the open weight, the world championships one year. He had, I think it was 9 matches. Don't quote me on this. And he finished them all from mount.
Right.
He finished 2 via what's called an Ezekiel choke, which he uses to set up his cross choke. He finished the rest via his cross choke.
Yeah, okay.
Every single one of his competitors, all elite world champion black belts, knew what was going to happen, and none of them could stop it. That's
true. Yeah,
that's the level you want to get to. I don't think I'm never going to get to that level, right? But that's the goal. You always have to strive for that. You might not make it. You know what they say? What do they say? Reach for the stars, blah blah blah. If you
reach for the moon's all right. Something.
Wow, that's not like that. Reach for the moon.
The moon's a nice place.
Just try to be good.
But no, that point stands because having the knowledge of it, you can try to defend it. But if it comes down to the skill at the end of the day,
absolutely,
if they're surpassing you,
they're just better. They're just
better. Yeah,
they're just
exactly
better,
right.
bro. And they're the matches you don't mind losing either. Like when you lose a match that you made a mistake or you lose the psychological battle with yourself, they hurt, they sting. You're like, oh man, I fucked that up. But sometimes you just lose because the other person's just better. You're just like, wow, he just beat me. He's just better.
They might have put more work in.
I just got to get better.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the harsh reality. And that's why I hate and love chess. Can't pretend I play it. I downloaded it, played it for 2 weeks. But
I can't play it.
I can't play it. I suck. But that was one of the ones where you go in and I'm just there's no excuse. There's no room for excuse. They just fucked you up because they're better than you there. Yeah, and there's no one to point at. There's no one to, my leg hurt. No, there's nothing. They're just simply strategically better than you.
I think that's a really good point too, man. And this is something I try to tell people new to competition, and for anyone new to competition listening, it's never anyone else's fault.
Of course.
So, if the referee, you get to a point where you're 2 and 2, so 2 points each, it's the referee's decision that goes the other way.
Yeah.
And maybe you had the better of the match, but for some reason it went to the other guy. That's still not the ref's fault.
Of course.
You should have submitted him. You should have scored 4 points instead of 2.
Yeah.
There's basically nothing in a competition that you shouldn't take responsibility for. Yeah. Oh, you were injured. Well, you still went when you were injured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which you should, in my opinion, if you can. I fight injured almost every time, right? Because injuries are just a thing in sport. But,
there's a beauty to it. It adds a level of, honestly, it maps perfectly from the, it is, firstly, jiu-jitsu is a chess match. So it maps,
human chess,
it's analogous. It maps perfectly across. But same thing, literally. Who else, and I think this as well, you need to view life like this. This is personally my kind of philosophy. As much as I can, I will blame, and maybe I think I do it too much as well. I'll blame myself even if I shouldn't. But in my opinion, if you blame yourself for something, even if it wasn't your fault, and I'm sure everyone's heard this, you're giving yourself the power to believe that you have the responsibility to change it.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, look, in life, it's a little bit different. We're all born with, dealt different hands.
Yeah,
but it's how we respond to those hands.
Yeah,
There's a lot that's not within our control in life.
Well, the start is not perfect. You're dealt the hand.
Yeah.
What are you gonna fucking do? With
We're
it?
just lucky that I was lucky I was born in Melbourne and not Gaza.
Literally,
and that's pure luck.
Yes.
Man, I didn't have nothing to do with that.
I know, and I've been thinking about that a lot. Obviously, we won't digress too far into there, but like, I don't want to go in because there's so much there.
That's another
not even
podcast
from
altogether.
Honestly, but not even from a political standpoint, but everything right now is like an ideological standpoint. Everything's like a mental battle, and I guess just to kind of bring it back, I've always been grateful, but seeing what we're seeing, regardless where you land on the details of it, I'm just grateful, man, that
dude,
we just live here and
man, like one of the things that relates to jiu-jitsu is I travel a lot. I'm lucky. Last year I competed in the US 3 times, once in Japan. And
wow.
You been to the US?
No.
Don't believe the hype. It's a shithole.
I didn't, and I don't. No hate, but
if any Americans listen to this, I'm cancelled.
No.
A lot of great people, but so you'll go wherever, California, LA, San Diego. Man, and the poverty you see you don't see that here.
Yeah.
You go downtown San Diego, and San Diego's relatively well off.
Yeah.
And there's blocks and blocks of tents.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, and they've got major immigration issues happening at the moment.
And they've got major healthcare issues as well. So as a good example, I have a minor heart condition. I was with my cardiologist this morning, and he's like, if this happens, just go to the ER. If it happens while you're overseas and competing, get on a plane, come home and go to the ER. Because if you go to the ER in America, it will bankrupt you.
Okay, shit, yeah.
Well,
don't they need to pay to have a child?
I got no idea. And let's not get into details. I
We're
don't want to like make up things that aren't.
No, that's honestly a risk of podcasts. Is it's so easy to in real time. I hate the word, but it's true. Give misinformation.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we'll
I don't want to do that.
I appreciate what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, but just so you see all that when you go to the States, and everyone's really polite. There's a lot of great people in America, but the overall way they live is definitely very different to here. And so every time I get to LAX, to LAX, I sit in the chair and I buckle that seatbelt and sink back. I just go, thank fuck
that you're coming home.
I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, from the fact that they can't make a goddamn coffee.
Yeah, all right.
So first thing I do when I get plans, I get coffee straight away.
Yeah.
To the fact that we just live such a nice life here, bro. Like we're lucky, and we need to, not only remember that but defend it a bit.
Yeah, of course.
I
I have no qualm. I used to call it qualm. I have no qualm with the US. But my thing with it is, and maybe it's just because I'm broke, but if I'm going to spend that money, I'd rather go somewhere that like the US, I feel like we already see it on our social media. Yeah. Like you're only going there and people go, yeah, but our large is like their medium. I'm like, fuck, okay. Maybe Yosemite sounds appealing.
Yeah, Yosemite sounds amazing.
And I think it just caps out there. I'm going to see, all right, concrete jungle. Cool. I'd rather go China. I'd rather go anywhere else, in my opinion.
I guess that's the difference between, do you want to see a similar culture or do you want to see
Why would I want to spend that money to see a similar culture?
I've been in America probably 12 times now, I think it is. But I don't
Apologies, my bad.
Yeah, I don't get to do much except jiu-jitsu.
Okay, yeah.
I would like to just go and be a tourist. There are some amazing things like Yosemite. I'd love to go to Colorado. Like Colorado has some of the best mountain biking in the world and stuff. So don't get me wrong. Like if I could rent like an RV and travel,
true,
that would be sick. But in terms of lifestyle, like we're fortunate.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's awesome. Why'd you even get into jiu-jitsu? And I guess what gave you the confidence to start the gym? If I'm not mistaken, you started at Purple Belt.
Yeah.
This was 9 years ago, 2015.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do you have the confidence to even do that?
Well, there's a few things there. So I started jiu-jitsu like most kids. I grew up with siblings and they were into martial arts.
Beating the fuck out of you?
No, never. You know, that part was they would help me, try to train me and all that.
Awesome.
Kind of stuff.
Sorry.
Of course.
I took that real grip. It's the Arab in me.
No, my family wasn't like that. And so, they take me to Kung Fu. We did Kung Fu for a while. We did Japanese.
Wing Chun.
Yeah, Wing Chun, exactly.
Actually,
yeah,
I'm memeing that. Is that legit? Like, is there a utility to Wing Chun? And sorry to digress, but
I guess so. I mean, it's existed all this time, so there's some utility. Like, if someone's very, very good at Wing Chun against someone who doesn't know how to fight, they're going to kick their ass.
Of course, true.
But you're not going to win a UFC title with it.
I think that's why it's kind of redundant's a heavy word, but it's evolutionarily kind of phased out.
The UFC is kind of like just showing us all what works and what doesn't, and then the rest of the martial arts have become something else, which is totally fine. There's a place for everything. You know, one of my favorite martial arts is kendo. You know kendo?
I do not.
So kendo is like modern Japanese sword fighting. So they wear the armor and the bamboo swords. Like,
nice.
Ain't nobody carrying no sword, right?
Hazard.
But it's just awesome to learn it, to partake in a cultural tradition that's centuries and centuries old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's more to martial arts than just can you beat someone up or not. You know, like
Great point.
I actually did kendo in the oldest existing kendo dojo in Japan, in Kyoto. It was amazing.
That's
experience.
amazing. Yeah,
it was an amazing experience. Anyway, and so when the UFC first came out, my brothers bought a VHS. I actually saw UFC 2 before I saw UFC 1, and you know, Hoist was in there kicking everyone's butt. You know, and there's a tall, lanky guy like me.
Yeah.
And it looked really cool. And I'd done Japanese jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, well, jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu, which is not, but you know. And then, but
you just projected yourself.
Yeah, that's right, man. And that was, let's say, 1995, 1996. Okay. There was virtually no jiu-jitsu. It was non-existent.
Pretty sure I was still swimming around.
Yeah, well, I'm old. Yeah. It was pretty much. There was nowhere to go for jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And I lived in a suburb called Melton, which is outer western suburbs, you know, rough as guts. Yeah. That's where my family's from. And so eventually I grew up, and you know, skateboarding, all that kind of stuff, and always loved martial arts. And me and my brother, I'd go to my brother's house. He lived around the corner. We'd practice, and he'd do some Wing Chun, some boxing. He was a big Bruce Lee fan and stuff. And eventually I started Muay Thai.
Okay.
I started Muay Thai, and I did that for like 6 years, pretty hard. You know, did some amateur fights and one pro fight. But always wanted to do jiu-jitsu, but it wasn't available per se. But it so happened that my main pad holder named Carl Jenkins, Killer Carl, who's an absolute stellar individual, still contacts me to this day, bro. We're talking 25 years ago.
Wow.
Still rings me.
That matters, man.
Yeah, man. Still rings me every 6 months. How you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what a man, you know?
Yeah, that's sick.
He was almost a blue belt in jiu-jitsu because he lived in a different area where it was jiu-jitsu. So we'd have fighters classes that start at like 4 o'clock, but I'd get there at like 3:15 and we'd roll around the ring. And then eventually I just got sick of Muay Thai and decided I didn't want to fight anymore and stuff, and took a little bit of time off, probably a little too much partying.
Okay, bit of uns.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
And then I decided to do jiu-jitsu, and then at that time I was living in Yarraville, which is still my favourite place I've ever lived. And the only academies, seriously, because now there's an academy every third block, right?
Yeah.
The only academies was in the city, one called Ground Zero, and then Dominance, which was in Richmond.
Oh, really? So you guys were literally pioneering it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So
see, and that's why I genuinely thank you for sitting down, because I know you genuinely have humility, but you're a fucking OG. You literally are, and
I'm just old in general too, right?
Yeah, I mean old guy. Nah, original gangster. Literally the
man.
OG, man. Like, so that's sick.
Yeah, so I went to Ground Zero. I did like 5 days there, 6 days. Hurt myself, ironically, kicking the fucking bag. Got back to the Muay Thai days, smashed my ankle.
Oh, God.
Had to take some time off. But the vibe wasn't what I was after.
Yeah, okay.
I had some experience in what was positive and negative culture.
Okay.
And for me, it was a negative environment. Yeah.
Okay.
The gym doesn't exist anymore. It might have been very positive for other people, but it wasn't what I was looking for. It didn't encompass. It was more the old school macho jiu-jitsu, like we can fight anyone, kick ass. Whereas I was coming from the way my brothers raised me, the martial artist mindset. Yeah. You know, humility, respect, all that kind of stuff. It was just different, you know. And to be fair, a lot of jiu-jitsu was very macho. Yeah, particularly back in the day in Brazil. You know, it was known as a thug's martial art back in the day. They used to street fight a lot, that kind of stuff. Anyway, fast forward, when I was ready to start training again, I went to Dominance, and I walked in. It was upstairs on Swan Street in Richmond. The mat was like, dude, like 4 of these studios here. That's it.
Wow.
And there was like 15 people, and my
It's not a
coach,
big room.
Dave, who's currently a 4th degree black belt.
Yeah.
You know, very accomplished, in Australian landscape. He was only a purple belt.
Wow, that's sick,
Cam
man.
Rowe, my other coach, was only a purple belt. You know? So I was there at the beginning. I think Dave was like 25 or 26. Yeah.
And you're how old at this point?
20. No, so he must have been about 27, 28 because I was 25. He's a couple of years older than me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
And
man.
He just kind of supported you in the idea of starting up Dominance.
Okay, so
Thomas
fast forward.
yeah.
So shit, how did we get there? Yeah, sorry, mate.
Yeah. No, that's
So, I trained off and on for a while, and I wasn't always the best student because I had a lot of personal stuff going on. And then I started to get serious around the age of 30. So it actually took me 7 years to get my blue belt, which would take about 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because I was in and out, had a few injuries and stuff. And then I got real serious. So from sort of 30 to now, it's been like flat out.
Yeah.
And then I was teaching. So I was teaching kids classes and helping the beginner adults at Richmond, Dominance in Richmond.
Sorry,
Yeah. And all that was amazing in itself. Like the day that Dave proposed I work for him, I was like, wow, someone's going to pay me to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That is insane. I was a blue belt
You guys
too.
get paid for this?
Yeah. And dude, I was teaching private lessons. I'm like, these people are coming to me to learn. Like, what the
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
Just a new world there.
yeah, man, I didn't even think it was possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't, like, who am I?
Well, it wasn't
It
even
wasn't barely back then either.
it wasn't
you know?
even in the conversation. Like, think
No.
about the influence of Jits now. It's embedded in the speech everywhere now. Everyone knows it.
100%,
This,
man.
like, the concept was being pioneered as
Like
well.
half my friends are black belts now because they started after me.
Yeah.
You know what I
okay.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I remember in the old days, you'd be like, I do jiu-jitsu. Like, what's that? Like, it's kind of like judo mixed with wrestling, blah, 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 blah. And now you just have to say jiu-jitsu and they get it.
Yeah.
They might not, have a detailed understanding.
Well, for the most part, I think most people understand it.
That's right, yeah. So anyway, and then one day, Dave just comes to me and goes, there's this gym up in the north that's not doing well. And a lot of things happen, coaches moving around and stuff, and the owner wants out.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy a gym?
Ooh.
And I'm like, maybe.
Yeah.
I was a purple belt at the
I
time.
think so.
So we go have a look, and the gym was cooked. It wasn't the owner's fault.
Mm.
He had a long story with coaches shifting around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was like 30 students there, and we bought it for next to nothing.
Nice.
Half the students left because we made a bunch of changes, and then we struggled bad. I struggled bad for 2 years, working full time, 9 to 11 hours a day, then go and run the gym.
Wow. Yeah.
I was the cleaner.
Oh, shit.
I was the
You were doing a
jiu-jitsu coach.
trade, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, I worked for CSR Plasterboard in customer service and stuff. Yeah. I worked there for 15 years.
Because my source remembers you coming in with your trade uniform.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah. Coming in with trade, changing. Yeah. So
because I worked the head office was the manufacturing site, so we'd have to walk around.
Yeah.
I was a warehouse supervisor for a while and stuff, so you're wearing fluoros. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So I struggled pretty bad. Got pretty bad burnout. But this is what happens with all things that you start out. Small business, a podcast, or whatever. You have to put in the hard yards.
Yeah.
And it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about developing a plan and a process, and then
Thinking long term as
sticking
well.
to it.
Yeah.
And sticking to it when things go bad. And that doesn't mean being inflexible. It just means, seeing the long-term goal.
Anti-fragile.
Yeah, anti-fragile and the parameters. And sometimes you have to snake and twist and turn within the parameters. But you can get there if you put in the work.
Yeah.
And, now, so I've gone from, say, my first jiu-jitsu class was like 3 students, 2 of which I still have to this day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And now there's, I can have classes of 60 people at a time.
Man, when the
It's
times I do come in, it's
it's huge.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So, man, that's the story. And as a purple belt back then, okay, it wasn't great. I remember the owner going, "Oh, so you're a black belt?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm a purple belt."
Yeah,
right?
that's the part I don't get. But
hey, back then it was like that.
True,
It wasn't
I guess so.
uncommon.
Yeah.
Look, it was better to be a black belt, but there was still brown belts, purple belts opening gyms.
Yeah,
you can't do that now.
Yeah, of course.
Unless you're in the sort of country.
Yeah. Or you've got like a parent company or person kind of.
Yeah, but even still in the city, you're not going to get away with it.
Of course, yeah.
But and then that was that, and here we are now. Much thanks to Dave Hart, my coach and business partner, who helped me stay on the path largely, and to my partner Casey, who also did the same thing. Even though maybe she regrets it a bit now when I'm never home. But she does her best for me.
That's awesome. In line with that, I wanted to ask you: did Dominance Thomastown struggle to find its own identity from Dominance Richmond? And
Nah. Yeah, sorry, go.
no, that's fine. I guess so. Well, that kind of answers it. But a follow-up question.
Deeper than that, though.
Yeah. is there sibling rivalry between the gyms? Is there a healthy or potentially unhealthy competition happening as well?
Yeah, we hate those guys. bro.
Fuck those guys.
Joke.
Joke. For the
Joke. Just
record.
clear
It's a joke.
I mean, so like I said, I did 5 days at Ground Zero, and then I did my 6th day at Dominance, and I've been in Dominance ever since, white to black.
Yeah.
You know, I don't change much in life. Been with my partner over 10 years, worked the same company 15 years. I believe in loyalty.
Well, that's character, man.
And I believe in it, like loyalty is reciprocal, right? You can't just be blindly loyal to someone or something, but it's a two-way street. If they're loyal to you, you're loyal to them.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond loyalty. Like, I'm just Dominance through and through. Always was.
Yeah.
Always will be. And my students embrace that immediately. So you got to think about it. They were this small gym that...
Sorry,
So let's say the 5 students I had when I bought the gym.
Yes.
You know, some of them still with me now, Stefan Komar, Rachel Vinicombe, Ninja Steve, they were there from the start, you know. Nam. You probably know roughly some of these guys.
Yeah, a lot of faces are familiar as well.
They were with me from the very start. And so they were a small gym, not affiliated with anything. And then, you know, one of the bigger, more well-known gyms comes in.
Yeah.
We give them an identity. We're like, no, you're part of us now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your Dominance. And
Yeah.
they loved it. And my team are like fiercely Dominance. Yeah. Not in like waving a flag, like, yeah, fuck the rest, but like
I bleed fucking
I do have a
cunt.
student who
I fucking tattoo it on my
I
chest.
do. I got a student at Wipeout that got a tattoo.
Oh, you're serious?
He's a bit of a cooker, so.
Oh, wow.
Hey, he's a legend of a bloke too, and he knows he's a bit of a cook. He embraces the fact he's a cooker. But he's a legend. He's getting quite good too. But
tattoo?
yeah, he did. It was 0 stripe white belt when he got a tattoo as well. But he's got a million tattoos. In fairness,
more power to him.
Nah, but he's a legend. But
I wouldn't do it.
yeah. Where was I with that? Speaking of cookers. Yeah.
The old crew and I guess identity.
So
was
we
really
gave them an identity that they embraced, you know, and so we always embraced Dominance. You know, sometimes we joke and say we're more Dominance than Dominance. You know what I mean? Like if you're at a comp, there's more Tomo people than anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of that comes from the fact that like we're really tight because everyone's from the area.
Yeah.
We're slow.
True.
You know, Abbotsford's so big. There's kind of different groups. Yeah, not in a bad way, just different.
Just a observation.
Yeah, just an observation. Yeah. So and in terms of rivalry, an identity. It wasn't that we needed to establish an identity because identity was Dominance, but we did. I definitely felt, and my students felt, the need to prove ourselves. You know, so here we are attached to this monolith. You know, like it's us, absolute AET. Like we're the top dogs.
Yeah,
you know, like
literally. Yeah.
So. All of a sudden, we're this little gym in the suburbs, part of this top team. So we need to prove to everyone else that we're holding our own.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So we, you know, we put in a lot of work, and that's, I guess, where we develop quite a strong competition team. And
So can Dominance versus Dominance in a comp?
yeah, absolutely. And we leave that up to the individuals. You know,
Okay,
so.
yeah.
If we tell them if you want to fight, you fight. If you don't want to fight, don't fight.
Yeah.
This is the students, but the coaches, we never fight.
Okay.
Never.
That's nice. You even. I don't know if this is intentional, but just image of integrated front.
Absolutely.
I
Like we show to the world that we're one team,
Mm-hmm.
one leadership team.
Yeah. You need that in like management essentially.
Yeah, and also there's nothing to be gained from it. You know,
True.
if one of us beats the other one, it's just going to be some people that
Dominance
maybe don't
lost.
like us,
Yeah.
snickering like it doesn't prove anything.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And plus, these guys are my coaches and mentors. You know, Dave and Murray. Like,
Yeah.
they brought me up. Yeah, well, you're not going to fight your parent.
Of course.
Well, you shouldn't, but that's another story together. But even like, you know, me and Kieran have landed in finals together, and we play rock, paper, scissors, you know, and he beats me, and it sucks. There's actually an Instagram clip of me losing rock, paper, scissors for the gold medal. I was shattered.
What do you mean? Over who's going to take it?
He's going to take the gold, yeah. Because this thing in jiu-jitsu called closeout, where if you don't want to fight your teammate in the final, you just tell the referee, hey, give it to him.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, and so we rock, paper, scissors it. That's hilarious.
Fuck.
I lose, and I'm just like, fuck!
Yeah. No.
But, you know, it is what it is. And me and my coach, Dave, we bounce back and forth, you know. And the reality is most time he gives it to me.
Awesome.
He doesn't need to either, but he's been there, done that. You know, he's fought ADCC. He's fought Marcelo Gussie, who's one of the greatest of all time. He's done all that. So he'll say, no, you take it. You need the points because you're going to fight Worlds this year. And Worlds requires ranking, etc. So
And you are one unit. So
that's right. Yeah. There's no
awesome.
insecurity about it. Like, and we fight every day in the gym, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we
point to
know,
prove,
everyone knows what's what. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. In terms of mentorship, how have you developed over time? Have you changed in your teaching styles? I guess, are there areas that you're currently looking to improve, or
All of it,
have you been consistent?
Nah,
kind of throughout?
definitely. Like first and foremost, I was very fortunate. I inherited a very good structure. One thing about
Oh,
dominance
that matters, yeah.
is that we have a good teaching structure and we produce good instructors, coaches.
Yeah.
So I had a template laid out for me, and it always had Dave and Murray and Cam, who used to be dominance, but he now owns Rise in Altona, but he was one of my first coaches as well.
Yeah.
Always had them to bounce ideas off, and even if I didn't know, I'd just be
So
like,
what's your style, sorry, more specifically? Are you kind of the authoritarian? Are you the charismatic? Are you, obviously you'll lead by example. But,
I think I'm all of the above, you know. Like 1 minute I'm cracking jokes, next minute I'm telling you to get your ass in there. Like, and that's just reality.
Get down!
Yeah, like at least you know, at Tomo we like a high energy style of coaching and training.
Nice.
Yeah, like the music's blaring, the coaches are putting in the work next to you, and we like to get after it. That's just fun for us.
Nice.
But I inherited all that, and then just, you know, continue to try to get better as I go.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things I learned more, and this is common for everyone, the more you know, the less you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe 5 years ago, you showed me a technique and I would say yes or no. And now I'll be like, well, it's one of my favorite sayings is by someone who you didn't know the name of. I listened to the podcast with Jordan and you didn't know Miyamoto Musashi.
Yeah.
Bro. He said, I got him tatted on my arm. Man.
I'm so sorry.
So he's one of the greatest warriors
He was
of all
quoting him
time.
like, yeah, right, my bad. Sorry, I'm really showing my
Mate, he was full giving the history. Like, I was listening to that and I'm like,
You know, we were in this room with Jordan actually, so shout out Jordan.
yeah, man, I was listening. I'm like, I'm nowhere near as smart as this dude. This is not going to go well. This is like a step down for you.
No, definitely not. We're not asking fucking Russian history questions, so we're all right.
He's Slovakian, by the way, bro, not Serbian. But yeah, he's also a beast and a good guy.
I know.
but we're-
Mamoto Mishapi.
Yeah, so he has this saying, there's more than one path to the top of the mountain. And that's something as I got both more understanding in jiu-jitsu and just more secure in myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it doesn't have to be my way.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes they have to find their own way to this technique. So my job as a coach is to give them good fundamentals, which are kind of universal,
Yeah.
to give them the ability to understand the concepts that govern jiu-jitsu and then teach them to, in a lot of ways, take control of their learning themselves.
So
That's
how
the
do you, I guess, how do you inject guidance without telling them what to do? Because it is a level of parenting.
Yeah,
That-
100%.
That
so
is parenting.
I have a saying like white and blue belt is monkey see, monkey do. I tell you, do it, you do it.
Okay.
After that, now I'm going to take what I call a view of the balcony and the dance. Have you heard of the balcony and the dance?
Slow down for me, slow down. The balcony and the dance.
Yeah.
Are you throwing someone off a balcony?
Yeah. If they don't perform, no. So imagine this, right? So imagine you've got a dance floor, like it's a massive dance floor. Let's just say there's 100 people at this dance.
Okay, we're rocking it.
You got a dance floor.
Fucking
And let's say you're dancing with your partner.
Oh,
middle
yeah,
of the dance
just
floor,
fucking-
okay?
All right, we're going.
You can see your partner, and you can see 1 or 2 or 3 people around you. You can't see 5 rows back. You can't see the edge.
Okay.
You can't see the overall movement of the dance floor.
Okay.
You can only see the immediate dance.
We're all standing up, sorry?
That's right.
Okay.
That you're
yep.
involved in.
Okay.
But that's you, the athlete.
Yeah.
Coach, I'm on the balcony.
Mm,
I'm viewing the whole game.
yes, holistically.
Yeah, I'm viewing a holistic view. So while you might be working on a specific area in your game, that's all you can see because you're on the dance
Trying to
floor.
get in, I'm trying to make that move, yeah.
I'm there going, hey man, this hole here needs to be fixed.
Yeah, she was making eyes at you.
That's right. You can't see it. So you can't see this hole. You need to go and work on this. Yeah, yeah. Or he or they.
Yeah, yeah.
But
They,
that,
them, yeah.
so that's how I kind of do that. So once they get to a sufficient level where I know they've got good fundamentals and they're understanding conceptually jiu-jitsu, they get a lot more loose rein. And then I'll just be like, hey man, this happened in the match. We need to fix this area. And there'll be, here's some ideas. Here's how I do it, or here's how, you know, whoever I study is doing
And
it.
you need
And they'll come to me too, and they'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm trying to fix this. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? And sometimes they teach me things too.
Of
you know?
course, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I guess the higher the level, the more, I guess, not actively they'll be listening, but I feel like the more they'll take on board what you're actually
Oh yeah,
saying.
it's
as
like
well.
it's easier to, you know,
know?
5 words mean 45 words compared to a white belt. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But also the higher the level, the deeper the understanding they need of jiu-jitsu to be good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
So my job is to make sure they have that and let them run with it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it can't be a video game. It's a video game, maybe white, blue, maybe purple, but
Yeah.
you can't play them like a video game at brown and black belt. There's too much going on.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to do it for themselves.
Yeah, I get that. I
Yeah,
understand.
but you always have to be there with them, next to them, on the balcony, viewing the dance, helping their overall game, their overall strategy. But they have to have a strong understanding of it themselves.
And they have to want to learn as well, which
100%,
on
which
that
they
level
do.
there will be. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least on that level. you
Yeah, and
know?
look, everyone will vary, some more so than others. Yeah, but and it depends. You know, we're talking to recreational people that come twice a week, or we're talking people professionals, because I have a lot of professionals in the gym as well.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, I think.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm always studying other coaches, trying to do things better. Even when I'm teaching something I've taught 10 times before, 20 times before, I'll go and see what's the latest developments in this area.
Yeah.
What's the latest development in this technique or position, and how does John Danaher explain it?
Which
and
what
how
was it
does
like
Huff
meeting
and
him?
Mendes
Yeah.
explain it? You know what I mean? And just
Yeah.
try to take the best, because you can't assume you know everything. The minute you assume you know everything, you know nothing.
Yeah, that's just a fact of life.
100%.
Honestly. Yeah,
And it
as
happens
you-
bad in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I mean, naturally though, it's a weird dance, but you already hit the nail on the head. The more you know, the more you realize you really don't know shit.
That's right.
Which is so. Is humbling even the right word? It just sucks. And not that.
No, I
even-
don't think so. I think there's a
yeah,
beauty to it. You know, you're like, hey, this thing is more complex than I thought it was. So I guess in some
depends
ways,
if you like
end
control.
up wiser.
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
You have to release some of the control. Bro.
Fuck that.
You have to let the leash go a little bit.
See, my like just trouble in life is I'm not a controlling person, but I like parameters, I like logistics, I like numbers. I'm not even a mathematical person, but I like to have control of a situation. So it's always a really big moment for me when I have to relinquish control, essentially. Which
Man, just like, look, man, imagine you got a sibling and they're young. You know, you big brother them to a certain point. But
Of
at some
course.
point, you realize that big brothering has given them the foundation they need for
Yes.
them to become the person they are
yeah,
and to excel at what they're doing.
yeah.
You got to release that. They should.
That I understand. But
Same with the students.
So I agree with that. But the
100%.
control in this analogy, the control, and I love that 100%. In terms of just like guidance or parenting, I feel like the most you can do is one, lead by example, two, give as much guidance in the individual's ability to make decisions as you can.
Exactly. Just like a student, you got to be there and be like, no, that sometimes it's wrong.
Of course. Yeah.
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 And that might be technical, psychological, strategic.
Yeah.
Might be behavior. Like
Yeah.
Some students get good and their head gets too big. You know, pull your head in.
Yeah.
Or, man, just like I felt bad for yelling at Nick while I was on the ground, even though it really wasn't that bad. But sometimes students misbehave and you're like, no, go back there and make sure they're okay and say sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Go shake their ref's hand.
Yeah.
Go shake their coach's hand.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready to.
That's good.
Yeah, you know, we have a framework and ethics that we expect people to abide by, you know, which they do 99.99999% of the time. Yeah. So I think coaching is all of that. You know, it's hard and it's an unfinished project for me and for everyone who coaches. Man, I think John Danaher is still trying to get better every day as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That'll play into one of our questions coming up. But on the topic of, I guess, mentorship and students, what do you look for in a student that stands out? Is there like a particular trait, or you, Lincoln Hancock, that you see something that goes, they've got it? Do you have that? Or
I
is there
do,
things to look for?
100%, but
Yeah.
it depends on what that is, you know, because the thing about jiu-jitsu is it means different things for different people, and that's okay, as long as it plays a positive role in your life. There's no
Okay.
rules in this, yeah? The only rule I have is try to train at least twice a week,
Okay.
because when you only train once a week, it's really hard to make progress, and that annoys the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Because now you're caring
now
too
I'm like,
much.
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, I have to, it's like Groundhog Day with this person, you know?
Yeah.
But,
So what is the X factor? If you could, I know
look,
it's
let's just
reducing
say
it,
in
yeah.
general, like for everyone, let's not talk about the X, let's not talk about the stars, you know?
Okay.
Right now we're doing the sec. I have one saying that I've had to pull out on people occasionally, and that's fine because different things happen at times. But I'm saying, man, when you step in the gym, you tie your belt, you treat everyone with respect, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're left wing, right wing. I don't care if you're a criminal or a copper. Well, you know, within reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, within reason. You know, I don't care what your views are on X, Y, or Z.
Yep.
Tie your belt, treat everyone with respect, do your best. That's it.
Okay.
Now, do your best means you listen. So be coachable.
Be coachable.
Be
I like
coachable.
that.
Yeah. And we all, myself included through my career, go through phases where we're very coachable and we're not feeling good about ourselves, and that's generally when you become a little less coachable.
Yeah. And a little less likable as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Or you think you know everything.
Yeah.
Be coachable. Treat everyone with respect. Do your best.
Okay.
Now, where jiu-jitsu fits in your life within that, that's you. And it's going to change because like when you're 18 to 25, it might be the only thing in your life. Then you have kids.
Yeah.
So now it's 2 times a week if you're lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because kids are now more important. Or you build a career or whatever. But in terms of like the ones that you think are really going to make it in terms of competition, there's a lot of things. There's all that stuff. The next thing is they have to really want it. So people say things. I don't look at what they say, I look at what they do.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, people need to be encouraged. So people might say, I want to be a champion. They take 3 days off. But then champions need to be here every day.
Yeah.
This happened. That's okay, but you're a champion. You need to put that aside for 2 hours.
The definitions have meaning.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if we're going to use that definition, these are the parameters that need to that define that word. Yeah.
So they need to want it. They need to be coachable, of course.
Yeah.
Coachable. Yeah. And there's a lot of other things that are not always in everyone's control.
Okay.
The reality is they need a good support network, particularly if they're young, or if they're older. How do they support themselves to be able to train, travel, compete? So if you're looking at a younger athlete, are their parents behind this?
Yeah, that matters. Yeah.
Like I put a post up recently about Juzzy. Juzzy went through a period where he's only 19. He's had 5 surgeries. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now some of them were outside jiu-jitsu, most of them were inside jiu-jitsu. I remember one time he came back from a jiu-jitsu surgery. First session back, I tell him, take it easy. I turn my back,
brother.
I hear a crack. I look back. He's gone super hard and he's broken his collarbone. I had to ring his dad. He was 17 or 16.
Goodness.
He's been in the gym since he was 11. Ring his dad. Hey, Andy, you're going to have to come and get Juzzy. Yeah. And his dad's like, what's happened now? I'm like, he's broke his collarbone. Oh, for fuck. But to all credit to his mum and dad, despite all the setbacks, they saw how much he wanted it. They saw how much I cared about the kid.
Yeah.
They're 100% on board. Yeah. Every single day.
Well, the risks of greatness.
And now, look what's happening.
Yeah.
So you need that. The top athlete needs that support. They need genetics, to be honest, man, because a lot of people get injured very easily.
Yeah.
You see this in all sports.
Yeah.
If they're breaking every 5 minutes, not through no fault of their own, because obviously it depends on how you train and what your strength conditioning like and stuff.
Yeah.
But they need a little bit of genetic luck. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then the main thing is they need resilience because it's hard. Day in, day out, you're going to lose matches. You're going to have periods where you feel like you're going backwards instead of forwards.
Yeah.
You're going to have to say no to friends when they go out drinking. You're not going to have much money.
Yeah.
So they've got to have resilience. That's part of wanting it, but you've got to be tough enough. And you build that. No one rarely comes in as a white belt. You have to build that, but some people just will never build it, and other people will build it. So I think that package of hard work, a little bit of talent, whatever that is, if it exists, resilience, being coachable, good genetics, good support network, they can make it.
And even potential, even though that's not
that's
a
all part
tangible
of that potential,
thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely is not and it's a very individual thing. Yeah, like when I grade, I grade against the student's potential. So some people are amazing, they're smashing every other blue belt, but they're still not purple belt. Yeah. It's like, because I know how good that guy can be in the next 6 months.
Yeah, which I'm sure plays a massive part.
He's not putting in the work. Even though he's beating you, he's not putting in the work, so he's not getting the next belt. Then he puts in the work and you're like, now we both see your potential. You see it. Okay, you're ready for the next belt.
There you go.
So it's all individual,
How do you create the culture in the gym? We mentioned earlier it comes top down, but what does that actually look like? I imagine partly that it kind of creates itself organically, but is there things that you need to consciously do to create culture in the gym?
Look, it's organic, but the foundations are very deliberate.
Yeah.
Very deliberate.
And what does foundations mean in this context?
So when I started the gym, obviously I come from Dominance, already had a good culture, right? So I had a head start. We have students who visit other gyms, come back, they do it this way, that way, this way. And they're sometimes not enthused by what they see. Yeah. If you're brought up from the day one in Dominance, we often say you sometimes don't realize how good you have it till you go outside. Yeah. And visit another gym. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's millions of great gyms out there, but there's some too that you're like, wow, they could improve X, Y, and Z, one of the main things I thought when I started the gym was, how would I want a gym if I was a white belt or a blue belt? How would I want that gym to feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Make the ultimate gym for Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's your place. Yeah.
Yeah, but not for me.
Of course.
For Lincoln when he first walked in the door of dominance.
I love. There's a post I saw that was, be the person you needed when you were younger.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's ringing so true right now.
Exactly.
In what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So I wanted to build a gym that people walked into. I had this thing. You remember Cheers? Oh, you're probably too young. The TV show Cheers.
I don't even know Cheech and Chong. I just found out about that. So that's my
Not that you
level of
know
culture.
Miyamoto Musashi. So Cheers was this fucking stupid American sitcom, right?
Okay.
And it's all set in a bar. And this theme song, I'm not going to sing because I'm
Come
terrible.
on,
Nah,
let's
terrible.
fucking do it.
I
The
can't remember
vibe's
how it
all right.
goes, but one of the words in the theme song is that place where everybody knows your name, and then
Okay.
the person walks in the the opening scene. Everyone's like, "Hey,
Hey.
and I'm like, "That's how I want the gym to be, bro. I want people to walk in
Yes.
the gym, and everyone's like, "Hey,
Yep.
hey,
yep,
Bill,
Yep. Yep.
fucking, you feel like it's yours.
Yeah, I feel that.
like these are your people.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted that vibe. I don't want people to walk in, no one really says hello, and everyone just works hard. And there's some gyms like that and have amazing results. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe a rising tide lifts all boats,
Yeah.
I wanted a gym where you walk in and you're like, everyone's happy I'm here.
A community. Yeah.
Everyone wants me to be here. And I want to be here.
Awesome. Yeah.
You
Why not create it's your environment? Sorry, I'm to cut you off, but
That's all right.
why not create the environment that makes you happy to be in, which
Yeah.
will project onto other people?
Yeah, man. And
You know?
we have this thing, like we're always joking and playing with each other and laughing and hanging shit with each other, but we're training hard at the same time. We're trying to find that balance, between a great social environment and hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of how it was. I had some great mentors at Dominance. Also another mentor named Jamie Murray from Renegade out in the West Kensington, which I spent some time at because it was near my house. So I'd visit once a week or whatever. He has that vibe.
Good.
He has that great community. People go there and hang. I remember being there as a blue belt and there's all these people hanging out on the couch. I'm like, you guys train? No, I'm injured, blah, blah, blah. They're injured, but I still want to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, that's what
that.
I'm building. That's what I need to build.
You have built that. Yeah.
That's kind of so that's how we set it to a
good,
large
man.
degree, man. And then I guess the other part is as we got more depth and more advanced, we're building also simultaneously without displacing one or the other a culture of excellence.
Yeah.
A culture of being the absolute best we can be and you can be as an individual. And then that's the aim is to produce world champions. So far the best. I had a kid who was world champion, but in terms of adults, last year one of my students got silver at the No-Gi World Championships in the blue belt division, so that was pretty big for me and massive for him. So that's the aim, Let's and Dave, we had the exact same philosophy. Like we give up money, we give up time, we give up everything. We want to build world champions.
It's
we
a
want to help
generous
people
gym.
be world champions.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm trying to be a world champion myself.
Of course.
Yeah, I haven't given up on that in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah. Monkeys. Chimpanzees.
This is weird.
I know. Where am I going with it? So did you know chimps go on tribal raids?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, and I
Nasty
think
mothers. Nasty fellas.
Yeah, nasty fellas. Just go rip each other apart. And I guess the leader of the pack always needs to show a display of dominance to make sure that number 2, 3, and 4 don't actually come for their back. I know you've got the respect in the gym, but am I cynical in the following question, which is, do you feel you need to watch your back at all? I know it's a loving environment, but it's also an aggressive environment. How does that play in with natural, inherent competition as well?
I don't think it's an aggressive environment. I mean, we do a combat martial art, but we don't. It's not particularly aggressive the way we view it. We're just playing the game. It's just a game of chess with high stakes.
Okay.
That's all it is to us.
Yeah. All right.
But I don't know. I don't feel like I need to dominate the mat to keep my position.
Okay.
I like to try to dominate the mat because I'm a competitor, and that's what competitors do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I love to test my skill.
Yeah.
And you can ask the boys if they have a good round against me, we're going again.
Yeah. Okay, good.
You know what I mean? We're going.
Fuck yes.
But
yeah.
I know the day will come where they'll start getting the better of me.
Yeah.
And that, you know what that means?
You've you've fulfilled your job.
I've done my job right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
I understand.
This
that,
is a
yeah.
natural order of things.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Like,
Can't be king forever.
no, like I always tell people this philosophy, this thing, right? Mike Tyson was the heavyweight world champion, 19 years old.
Oh wow.
His coach was Cus D'Amato, he was like 60. Mike Tyson would have killed him in like a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
It was Cus who guided him there.
Mm.
In fact, when he left Cus, he fell to bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be the toughest person in the room to be a great coach. Danaher could barely walk.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm also an athlete,
Of
so
course.
I enjoy a scrap.
Yeah, and
So I'm all good with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we go hard, and that's good for them. Like I don't go hard on the juvies or the beginners or the
take out the
or
day two whatnot.
yeah, or even the purple belts who are recreational. You know, I go at their level, but the competitors, we go at it.
Of
Yeah,
course,
for
yeah.
sure. And I want to beat them, and
Out
they
of
want to beat
respect,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. And then afterwards, we'll talk about what you did right and what you did wrong and what you can improve. And I want you to be able to pass my guard. And you could try this and you could try that. This is what gives me trouble.
Yeah.
And the day will come when I'm not able to be the top dog in the map. But
Yeah.
today's not that day.
It's not that day. Not yet. Watch your
It
bags.
will be though, bro. It happens to every coach.
Of course.
man.
Well, it happens to humans, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
and
That's
that's
a beautiful thing.
Of course, of course. And I guess that circles back. So I gave the monkey analogy, but at the end of the day, yeah, evolution, but we are humans. You know what I mean?
That's right,
we
man.
are civilized.
So,
you know?
we have a much higher consciousness. You know,
Of
we have
course,
we're
awareness.
able to have ethics and imaginations and stuff that these primates can't really get.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, my position comes from the fact that, firstly, I walk the walk. I'm not the greatest in the world. That's okay. It is what it is. I started later. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. Yeah. I walk the walk. They know that. My coaches know that. Sorry, my students know that. I have nothing but their welfare in my heart.
Yep.
And I'm giving to them. So even if it gets to the point where they're kicking my ass,
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm not the coach.
Well,
They
the
still
knowledge,
look at me
yeah.
like, Dave's 25 kilos lighter than me. Those roles don't always go Dave's way.
Yeah.
Dave's my coach.
Of course. Yeah.
He's the head of dominance.
Yeah.
Like me and Murray's, the second in command.
Yeah. Well, of course. Yeah. As you said, or as we both were saying, yeah, we're not the monkeys. So it's not just beat your chest.
Fuck
You
no.
know, it comes with the experience. The only reason the people are in the room is because you and Dave have created this environment.
Yeah, man.
So
We have another saying, like we stand on the shoulders of giants.
Of course, that's awesome.
There was Dave, and before Dave, it was John Will who brought Jiu-Jitsu to Australia, and John Will come out of the Machados and the Gracie Barra Academy, and then, it just goes all the way down the line.
yeah. So we've kind of touched on it, but it's next on my list, so I'm going to ask it anyway. Do your students or does the gym only respect you on the basis that you're a winner? So I understand if you lose, they'll still respect you. But is there a certain amount of losses where your words don't have as much weight? Like, is love conditional? Is respect conditional?
Nah, love and respect is not conditional like
Okay.
that. It's conditional on being reciprocal.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, what I said before about loyalty. Loyalty is a two-way street.
Yeah, yeah.
Students are loyal to you when you're loyal to them. If you're not loyal to them, why should I be loyal to you and vice versa?
Yeah. No, that's
but,
pretty straightforward.
But in terms of, I don't feel the pressure to compete for them. I compete because I enjoy it. Now, byproduct is they enjoy when I compete and win.
Yeah.
And they like to watch me try and do my thing because it's inspiring to them to a large degree. But I don't have to do it. I could stop tomorrow in the gym and be just fine.
Yeah.
I got, people competing all over the place internationally. This that, and the other. Like,
You've proved
I don't
yourself,
have to be. I don't have to be the spearhead of the gym anymore. I just fucking enjoy competing,
Awesome.
and I have goals left.
Yeah.
And in fact, like they're really understanding because I have to take time away, and sometimes I'm really tired when I'm coaching, and sometimes I say to some of my students, "Oh man, like being an athlete and a competitor is hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm giving 99% as a coach."
Yeah.
Because I'm giving that other 1% to my athletic career, and I'll say, no, you need to do it. Like, you're 43, this is your time, right?
Yeah.
Like, they support me 100%.
That's beautiful. Well, yeah,
Yeah, they're like,
dominance is family.
Yeah, man, like I took time off when I was fighting for this fusion belt. I took time off from coaching lunch classes so I could do more no-gi at Abbotsford. And they're like, yeah, we'll cover it. You go, train.
Fuck yes.
So that's what we did for each other, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
such an amazing thing that sometimes I almost get emotional talking about it.
Yeah, it is an emotional thing.
Like I built it with my bare hands, and
Yeah.
and it's become, it's not the best gym in the world per se, but it's the best gym in the world to us.
100%. And you are literally watching people grow, watching people develop, watching them become, I don't know about in their whole life, but at least they're the best version of themselves and growing up as well.
100%.
So I think it shows, yeah.
And, I had a small part in that, which was great. I don't understand it's a huge responsibility. Like I tell my coaches, for example, like the kids class, that's the most important class in the gym.
Yeah.
These kids are very impressionable. What you do and say and how you act is going to help shape them. Yeah. And their parents are not only paying, but they're trusting you. They're dropping their kids off half the time they're not there for their kids to be safe and to teach them good ethics and morals in life. And that's a massive responsibility. And people who don't take kids' class seriously, I think, need to really look at their values. Like it's a fucking serious class. You might not be teaching serious jiu-jitsu, but you're dealing with a really important phase of someone's life. And I have students, who started me when they were 7, and now they're 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or 6.
That's such a developmental
Brianna and
stage.
Mason, I think they started when they were 6. And 15, Brianna just got a blue belt. Mason soon. Like, I've watched them grow up.
Yeah, literally. So, what do you do about? So obviously, jiu-jitsu is an intimate sport.
Yeah.
By nature, by default, to do it well, you need to be sticky. You need to be up close. What do you do about people with predatory intent who are essentially using the guise of jiu-jitsu to some degree maybe encroach on other people's rights? And I guess the framework of this question is basically what I'm asking. I want it directed towards women.
Yeah,
what would you say to women who are reluctant to join jiu-jitsu because of the knowledge and the fact that there are men, I guess to men as well, 2024, but more to women, the fact that there are guys out there who will use it just to cop a feel? What do you do about that?
Look, there's a few things with that, man. Firstly, I have, and I say this a lot, and I say this to my classes a lot, I have enormous amounts of respect for women who do jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Like, jiu-jitsu is fucking hard.
Yeah, yeah.
And on your first day, it's really hard. So you go into this place with all these strangers, and they're going to be between your legs, going to be on your chest.
Yeah, yeah.
You're trusting
sweating on each other.
And you're trusting them that when they put you in a submission that could hurt you and you tap, they're going to let go.
That's a good point.
You have to put your trust in almost strangers, right? It's hard for men to walk through the door and get in the mat. It's 5 times, 10 times, 15 times hard for a woman to do that. So I have an enormous amount of respect for women that first start and then women that stick out and succeed. Because if anyone needs jiu-jitsu, it's women.
It's the perfect skill to learn. And
both in terms of the physical skills and the mental skills.
100%. And the reality of you're learning control. So that's like, it's the perfect thing for women.
And the thing is, 9 times out of 10, women, they're some of the smallest on the mat. They're some of the weakest on the mat. They have other attributes which really help them, mobility, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But, they're generally speaking smaller than men, right? And that's just a fact of species.
Cancel him right now.
It's got nothing to do with anything else. Yeah, I know. That's just a fact of the species, right?
Of course. Yeah.
And so they're vulnerable, man. Just like they're vulnerable in society. Just like the reality is there's a there's an unequal power relationship between men and women. That's just a reality situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Women aren't out there raping men.
Yeah. I mean, it does happen, but yes.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Incredibly common the other way around. It's so common that it just blows your fucking mind. It's insane.
Of course.
Yeah, and incredibly sad, and it's been all throughout history, and it still continues to this day in every society.
And I believe this is a fact. I read it in a book, might have got it wrong. I think it was only up until the 90s where Australia made it illegal. I think Australia was one of the first countries to do it. They made it illegal, or they considered it rape for if a woman does not consent to sex by her husband, it is now considered rape.
Isn't that insane?
But back in back in the day, it's only till recent that it was considered rape.
I'll believe you, Bill.
I just yes, yes.
Seems to fit the general framework of how societies work.
No, I read it in a pretty extensive book. Yeah. So only up until the 90s, it was considered rape.
So firstly, let me just say to all the jiu-jitsu women out there, you're fucking awesome. Yeah. Like a lot of respect for them. But so a couple of things. Yeah, like the prevailing culture of the gym is important. Prevailing culture of the gym is important. So we have a gym where we're friends, we're there to help each other, we're there to work hard, we look after each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does a lot to root out a lot of the predatory behavior.
Mm-hmm.
However, the unfortunate reality is that there's always, in any group that gets large enough, there's the odd unit
Bad
or
actors,
two.
yeah.
So number one is zero fucking tolerance. None.
Yep.
There is zero tolerance of dominance for any of that stuff. Yeah. At Thomas Down, I will physically kick you out myself, and you're lucky if it's just that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to also, one thing I've found over the years is that women sometimes find it hard to speak up on such matters with a male. So I have a lot of women leaders in the gym.
Yeah.
And they're there to look out for the other women.
Nice.
Yeah. And if something's a bit weird, it's because they've been with me 5, 7, 8 years. They come to me and say, hey, there's something a bit weird. Something looks a bit odd.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on
Some feels
such
good
and such or whatnot. And then, like I said, that's zero tolerance from there.
That's awesome, man.
That gets dealt with straight away. And the unfortunate reality is, in 8 years, I've had to deal with this twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've kicked 3 people out of the gym. One was completely different. Completely different. You're just a general misconduct around money and stuff.
Okay.
2 where the behavior was just suspect.
Yeah.
And now there was nothing at all that was enough for me to go to cops or anything like that. But this is my gym. I don't have to accept anyone.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So both these individuals did things that I was not comfortable with, and both were booted immediately.
Yeah, man.
So
and you...
Actually, yeah.
No,
Yes.
there you go. Yeah.
3.
3?
No, it was 3. It was
Okay.
3.
Oh,
Well,
3 total, yeah.
one was a bit different, but yeah, he was also booted.
You really do walk the talk, though.
It gets back to this thing with the kids, brother. Like, like I said, the parents, they put a lot of trust in us. We have a huge responsibility. But that's the same for the whole academy. Like, I have a responsibility to make this place safe for everyone.
Yeah.
I have a responsibility for people to come and have a welcoming environment where they learn and grow as individuals and look after each other. So if you're going to disrupt that, you're gone.
Zero tolerance.
You're gone, bro. Even if it's not something I can prove and take to the police or something. It's just, okay, maybe you're talking to this, maybe you're 25 and she's 17, you're talking to her way too much, bro. I'll tell you once, hey, what's going on here? And then, well, too bad. And, the reality is I've had to have conversations with men, and you shouldn't have to have this. Now, I had a conversation with a dude once. I'm like, dude, I shouldn't have to tell you how to behave as a man.
Yeah, exactly.
I shouldn't have to tell
raise
you. Like, are you joking?
Yeah.
No, you're out of here, mate. Catch you later.
That's awesome, man. No, that's great. Yeah. No, genuinely, it appears you've seemed to make a very safe environment, but in a room full of killers.
Yeah.
So it's such
Jiu-Jitsu does that, man.
It's a
'cause we have to-
paradox, but it's
like
beautiful.
I said, you put your trust in each other, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm choking you before the podcast and you tap, you trust I'm going to let go.
True.
Yeah. And that builds something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that may or may not have actually happened.
It may not. We'll find out. We'll find if it makes the cut, basically. No, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Where'd the general come from? I hear you're the general.
Yeah, I actually didn't remember my student. He's gun brown belt. He's been with me quite a while now. He's one of the coaches, Ivan Domlich.
Yeah.
He claims to have made that.
Oh, I believe it. No?
Look, I have no other source, so I believe it. Yeah, he claims to have made that, and dude, like what a nickname, eh? Like I can't do nothing but appreciate that.
That's
like it's just cool. The thing is, like, that nickname's been reserved for some very special people in the Jitsu communities, and I'm nowhere near their level. So,
but to the people saying it, you are though.
Yeah, like I first heard that in reference to a fellow named Fabio Gurgel, who leads the Alliance team. That's the biggest team in the world. 10-time world champion team, 11, something like that. So to be even remotely associated with this is so like
the compliment is there. The intent
yeah,
is
man,
there.
it's amazing, and it's so much so that like even like a mountain bike, because I ride mountain bike, a mountain bike brand, posted a picture of me in their gear the other day.
Oh, you're kidding.
I wrote the general. I was like, fucking hell, that is so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's awesome. I guess it's just because, I lead from the front with the crew.
Yeah, exactly. I guess thanks, Ivan, for now.
Yeah, I think
until proven otherwise.
I believe it was him. Yeah. He'll hate it when I if I don't say, I 100% believe you,
With
Ivan.
certainty, yeah.
It was definitely you,
It's
which
in
I think it
writing.
was, yeah. Otherwise, he'll be trying to break my foot on Monday.
Awesome, man. One last question.
Shoot.
One last question. Where do you go to get your wisdom?
Well, I don't have any. No.
Well, honestly, in the new world we live in, podcasts bring it
look,
as
man,
well.
like, that's such a broad question. Like,
It is,
I had
actually.
mentors in life, you know, starting with your parents, as you do. And some of that was the things they did right and some of those things they did wrong. Like, sometimes who you want to be, it's not just shaped by who you look up to, but it's who you don't want to be.
Huge.
I don't want to be like that.
Of course.
You know? Not that
Yeah.
I had bad parents, but, you know, sometimes I didn't handle adversity that well.
Yeah.
Now I'm known for handling adversity, right? I grew up with plenty of adversity. Sometimes my parents didn't handle it their best. you
Yeah,
know? I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna be stronger than that. You know, and I had great mentors in Dave Murray.
To be honest, you've answered it throughout this
Yeah.
podcast, really. But
And I love Japanese culture. You know,
Yeah.
I take some bits from that, but let's not. I'm also a realist, right? I love Japanese samurai culture, but let's not pretend it was the greatest at times. It was a medieval time. There's
Yeah,
some
okay.
horrible, horrible shit.
course.
I just take the good bits and piss the rest
yeah,
off.
exactly. I mean, as with all our values should be, like, why not cherry pick your values
Yeah.
and take the best out of
I
it?
guess, and lastly, man, like, it's controversial to say, but I was quite political as a youth. Very
Okay.
political.
Which leaning?
Oh, I was quite left. yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So a lot of values that I learned about, looking after fellow people.
Yeah.
Bringing everyone together.
Yeah.
You know, supporting one another.
Which is a beautiful
never
concept.
leaving people
Yeah.
behind, never discriminating
Yeah.
against people.
Yeah.
That shaped a lot of who I am as well.
Awesome, man. I've got one that might get me in trouble. It's just a quote, but what is it? I think a young man who is not left leaning has no heart, but an older man who isn't right leaning has no brain. So
No, it's similar.
Something
It's
to
similar.
that
I think the saying is, I think the saying is, if you're not a communist when you're 18, you have no heart. If you're still one when you're 40, you're an idiot.
Oh, that's it. That's so much.
And
better.
that's pretty much how my life went. It's fucking legit ass.
full
Yeah,
circle.
full circle,
Fuck
man.
yes.
But you take the good values to get rid of the rest.
Awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
great. And one final secret question:
Oh God,
will you ever not play Hilltop Woods in the gym?
nah.
Nah.
Look, man, I grew up actually listening to punk rock.
All right.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, and that's still my favorite music genre, but it doesn't work well when you're training. And, Hilltops just have the right flow
Nah,
and
they
sound.
do, they do.
To tempo with rolling. Yeah, nah. I don't care who complains, man.
No
Too bad.
complaints. Lincoln Hancock, honestly, it's been a long time coming for us to just sit down and chat. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
This
it was good
awesome.
times, bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I guess I hope we do another one.
Yeah.
We've covered so much, but yeah, for now, appreciate your time. Appreciate what you're doing, genuinely. Like, I think you're a force for good. I think your just being is a net positive in the world, and that alone is just something commendable. So
Thanks, man. I
thank you so
appreciate
much,
it.
man. Honestly.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, and I guess peace out, everyone. Bang.